At the time, I wouldn't even wear a t-shirt, okay? I wouldn't want to expose any part of my body. It could be 30 degrees outside and I'd be wearing a hoodie because I didn't want you to see me. Do you feel like no matter how much you work out and pay attention to your diet, no matter how long you've been training, you still feel small? Do people pay you compliments about the way you look, but you just can't see it? Well, if that's you, then you've probably got body dysmorphia. I'm Ellis from themusclearchitect.com, and today I'm going to be telling you how I got over my body dysmorphia. So let's rewind the clock about 10 years. I started training when I was 17, and I was very skinny at the time. In fact, I'd always been skinny, but it never was really brought to my attention until I was around 15 years old. So the main reason I got into training in the first place is just because I didn't want to be skinny anymore. I didn't want to be seen as skinny. And at the time, I'd hear it from particularly my mum and my girlfriend. Now, I'm not blaming them. They didn't mean it as an insult at the time, especially my mum. She was concerned about me that I wasn't putting on weight, although I was eating like a healthy 15-year-old kid. I just have a genetic predisposition to not gain too much muscle and also not gain too much fat either. Looking at me now, you probably don't see that, but I have been working at my physique for 10 years. So when I started training, I was very excited to put on muscle. I wasn't necessarily unhappy with my body at the time, being 17 years old, but I knew I wanted to get bigger. So I started training and I started dieting, and I realised it was a very slow process. Now, they say the day you start lifting weights is the day you'll be forever skinny, okay? Because you will always be looking at yourself and judging yourself in a way that you never have before. So fast forward a couple of years, I'm about 19 years old, I'm really enjoying my training, I'm enjoying putting on muscle, and I know that I want to cut down soon because I've gained a bit of body fat, I've been through a bulk, I've added the muscle, and now it's time to cut down. And suddenly, I'm critiquing myself in a slightly different way, because now, not only do I feel like I'm still not big enough, I also feel like I'm too fat. This is a problem a lot of people have. Do you constantly find that you're going between bulks and cuts and bulks and cuts and you can't commit to one phase? That's probably because when you start cutting, you feel too skinny, and when you start bulking, you feel too fat. Again, that's all part of it, that's body dysmorphia. So I'm getting more and more into bodybuilding, and I'm researching it as a sport, and I decide I want to compete. And that opens up a whole new can of worms because I've just added competition to the mix. Already feeling slightly insecure, I'm already feeling a bit small, I'm already feeling a bit fat. And now I'm going to put myself out there to be judged by people I don't know against other people's bodies. Now, I've just put out a video about why you should compete, and one of the things I said is you need to be in the right mental headspace. So if you feel like this is you at the time, maybe it's not time to compete yet, maybe you should just cut down and see where your physique is at. So I start my competition prep, I start getting leaner, I feel good about myself. It's competition time, I get up on stage and I place second. I know those thoughts of not feeling good enough are starting to creep back in. Rewind the clock a week ago and I was feeling really good about myself because I felt like I was the best I'd ever looked. Now I step on stage and I'm compared to other people, and again, those feelings of inadequacy are creeping in. This all comes from the comparison to other people. Now bear in mind, this is in 2015, so this is even before Instagram was huge, full of fitness influencers. This is before fitness YouTube blew up. So I'm not even bombarded all the time with physiques like I talked about in one of my other videos. I'm taking it upon myself to go out of my way to look at bodybuilders, and I'm not even just looking at bodybuilders of my level. I'm looking at the top, I'm looking at Mr. Olympias and thinking about how do I get there? But really, I just need to focus on the small improvements to my own physique to be better than I was before. And that's what it comes down to. Forget about comparing yourself to other people. Forget about what other people think about you. Are you happy looking the way you do compared to how you did before? Are you making progress? And if I had taken time to think about this at the time, I think I would have beaten these feelings a lot quicker. So moving forward, I'm a bodybuilder now. I associate as a bodybuilder. I've competed. I know I'm going to compete again. I'm going to go into an off season and build a lot more muscle. Again, straight away, putting a lot of pressure on myself. And after that first competition, this is really where it got to the point where it was affecting my personal life. Because at the time, I wouldn't even wear a t-shirt, okay? I wouldn't want to expose any part of my body. Long sleeve shirts or jumpers or hoodies, it could be 30 degrees outside and I'd be wearing a hoodie because I didn't want you to see me. I felt like my body was a work in progress and I hadn't finished yet. I associated with being a bodybuilder, but I didn't want to be judged on my physique, which sounds crazy because that's what competition is. At the height of it, I remember going to a party in the summer one year and wearing a coat indoors because I just didn't want anyone to see me. I didn't want them to look at me and go, oh, Ellis is a bodybuilder. How's he looking? And people would question me, why are you wearing a coat indoors? And I'd say, because I'm cold. And that was a lie, that was clearly a lie. But I was just so embarrassed about how my physique looked because I wasn't at the top level of where I wanted to be yet. I couldn't look in the mirror and see the progress I've made because I could only see where I wanted to be. So I did a few more competitions, and whether I did well or whether I didn't do well, the result was always the same. I felt good about how I looked before the competition until I stepped on stage against other people. Keeping in mind, I was a pretty successful personal trainer at this point. I was coaching other people, helping other people get in shape, but still not happy with my body. Now, the massive turning point in my life was when my son was born. In 2018, after I competed 5 times, my son Grayson was born. And that really changed my perspective about a lot of things. Now, I knew I wouldn't be able to commit the same amount of time to my bodybuilding because I had something that was more important in my life. My priorities had changed. And so for the first time, I was able to step back and actually look at what I had done. And for the first time, I could be really proud about what I had achieved since I was 17 years old. But now suddenly this little boy's in the picture and he's my responsibility, and suddenly all these things that I thought were important aren't important anymore. He doesn't care how I look. He doesn't care how much muscle I have. He cares about if he's looked after. Now, this isn't advice. I'm not saying go and have a baby and you'll feel better. What I'm saying is put things into perspective, realize what's important, and be proud of yourself. Be proud of the progress you've made. Be proud of the effort that you've been putting in. Be proud that you can get up and go to the gym and cook healthy food and stick to a plan. Not a lot of people can do that. So since then, I competed again. Last year, I did pretty well. I did another 4 shows and I did pretty good. Now, since then, I've decided to take a little bit of a step away from competitive bodybuilding and just enjoy the bodybuilding lifestyle without the pressure of competing. And I have to say, I feel great. I feel really good about myself, better than I ever have. Now, this might contradict my other video when I said you should compete. But as I mentioned before, I think you should compete if you're in a good mindset, if you're in a good headspace. If you have bigorexia issues, if you have body dysmorphia issues, address those first. Realise that you're more than your body, but at the same time you can be proud of your body. The beautiful thing about bodybuilding is there is always progress to be made. That's exciting. And enjoy the process, enjoy the training. I'm enjoying training more than I ever have in my life, and I've been training for 10 years. And yeah, I might not be the biggest or the leanest that I've ever been, but I'm happy with my body because I'm enjoying it at the same time. I'm proud of what I've achieved before, but I'm happy with the way I look now. And it's taken me a long time to get there. Now, body dysmorphia is no joke. It falls into the mental health category. So if you feel like you're struggling and you want someone to talk to, my inbox is always open. If you really are struggling to build a physique and you want some help, go to themusclearchitect.com. That's what I do. I coach people. I help people achieve their goals. And we can do it in a healthy way that doesn't have you hating your body. Thank you for watching the video. Click like, click subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.